won't stop. They just won't stop making games and gaming news. I could really use a week off, but oh no weeks off for Jeff. Here we are at another Rage Select podcast, right here on Rage Select with me, Jeff, the guy wanting a week off.
I'm mad, and I'm sitting here thinking like, oh, I'm sorry, Jeff. Does no one have anything else to do in the world right now except for play video games? Because no, you don't get it. You don't get time off.
Well, it's just this thing where, like, what was it? Like 3 weeks ago, we had the Sony PS5 thing, and then like 2 weeks ago there was the Xbox thing, and then last week there was like an Avengers thing, and then this week there's a state of play from Sony, and next week is another one of those Cyberpunk 2077 night city dive things, and there's like an Xbox thing.
Dive.
There's so many things. Every week there's like a new thing, and I don't want to record an 8-hour podcast, Matt. I have to sleep at some point. So
I think that you're being a big whiny baby man, baby, because you gotta get good, gaming podcaster. That's my response.
Did you just get good, noob? Me, Matt Frank. Big talk from a man who got fillings earlier today. Like, come on.
Oh yeah, because like fillings, the sign of a weak man. What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, no, I am all fucked up on Tylenol right now, and like, I guess Tylenol doesn't really affect you, but let's just say that.
Whoa, man! Whoa, this Tylenol! I can see the future, man.
Let's just say I can now feel my mouth again, and I wish I didn't have to.
Okay, all right.
I'm good. I had me some SpaghettiOs. I didn't have to chew.
Did you just dump the can directly into your mouth? Did you just like open up your gullet, shotgun? Did you poke a key in the bottom and then like pull the top off the SpaghettiOs and just shotgun that thing right into your throat?
No, but I'm going to, because that sounds amazing.
Don't do that. Don't do that unless I've got a camera on you, Matt. I want to record you shotgunning.
You're going to get a call from Morgan, and she's going to be like, so Matt did something new and stupid today. I directly blame you. Not that I had any evidence to support it. I just instinctively knew.
I don't think I've ever told you this or anybody, Matt, but as a child, my sister and I got into shenanigans, and we had shenanigan nicknames with our parents. And my sister was called the perpetrator, and I was called the instigator, because I never did anything, but I would always get her to do the thing, and they'd be like, I didn't even do I didn't take the cookies. I was just sitting here, and my sister came in and gave me 18 Oreos. And they're like, listen, it's 5-year-old. We're on to you. Like, you can't outsmart us. We're 40-year-old adults. Like, you're not going to get one over on a court of parental opinion over here.
You know, I really want... That's the only reason at the moment I'd want kids, so that I could sit down and be like, listen, 5-year-old, I'm 43. You can't put one over on me. They're just like, Dad, I'm 6. And it's like, whatever.
I know you just discovered lying, but I've been lying for a long time. Well, you know what? We've got a lot to get over today, Matt. But before we get in, I have a brief thing that I want to do before that we don't do on Rage Select. I read a brand new book, and I want to review it. Because I finished
it. That's not video games.
That's true. It's the other thing that I do when I'm so drunk that I can't make the Dark Souls work. I can usually still see the words on the page. So.
Oh, good. Okay, tell me.
I finished Axiom's End, Lindsay Ellis's book that came out.
Oh, yeah. Morgan got that too. I haven't read it yet, but she read it. She just finished it the other day. How was it?
It was pretty good. I think that it's so different than what I normally read, because I normally read Captain Space Pants, Buccaneer of the 31st century, blowing up spaceships with the manly men. Yeah,
Buccaneer, no less.
The other thing is I normally read like these huge series books. So like I'll start reading book 16 of the fucking Blood on the Stars series, which is an actual thing.
Oh, cool. I love that title.
But the thing about book 16 is that you don't have to introduce everybody because everybody's already been introduced. So you just slam bang right into the action. And there was a lot of characterization that was happening in Axiom's End. And I think it made it feel a little slow for me because I'm used to reading book 18, book 5, book 64. But I liked it. I wish that I think the back half is really where the action is, and the first half can be a little bit slow. There's some really interesting stuff that happens in the back end of it. It's very kind of like, it's interesting because it's set in like the early 2000s during the George W. Bush administration.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that and thinking, that's oddly specific.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was when Lindsay was kind of a teenager. I mean, that was kind of when I was in my late teens anyway. So it also it makes for an interesting setting because smartphones aren't a thing yet, but cell phones are. So this was back where you could still call somebody on a cell phone, but you couldn't look anything up on a smartphone. And like, we're talking early internet or mid-early internet, but it's very kind of like an ET style story. There's some alien stuff going on in there. It's got some interesting ramifications. It's one of the few things I've seen in a long time where I know that you and I have talked about this before. My kind of bugbears were like aliens and robots and like otherworldly creatures that we immediately ascribe human emotions, concerns, and what's that thing? Motivations onto. And a lot of the aliens in this book are like very alien, and that makes for a really interesting story, seeing the kind of two things collide.
Okay, well, that actually does raise my eyebrows a little bit because I knew there were aliens involved on some level in the book. I didn't know anything about it other than the early 2000s setting, and there are aliens. And I gotta say, because Lindsay made a whole like how to make aliens, not how to make aliens, but just kind of an analysis of aliens and pop culture video, and. I mean, a lot of artists and people and writers and people who work in the industry know this stuff. But for those who don't know, it's the whole like the more human you make something, the easier it is to empathize with. And I think she held up. What was that movie from a couple of years ago that was about the? I forget the actors who were in it. It was really, really good. It was about the aliens who came down on the ship and they had to like spend most of the runtime learning how to communicate with them. And
was it the Arrival?
The Arrival, yeah. I think so. And she kind of held that up as like, here's how you do a really, really different, here's how you do a truly alien creature and try to find a way to make that part of the story without. I just thought that's very interesting. I'd like to, kind of makes me want to read a little more now.
I feel like if you like The Arrival, you would like it quite a bit. And there are a few in jokes in there that I appreciate of having watched the YouTube channel.
I heard that there's a whole plate reference. Which...
There is a whole plate reference where there's just says the character does something with the whole plate, and then it just like a period, and then just the sentence the whole plate period, and it's like, well, that doesn't really mean anything, but I get what you're doing there.
Yeah, that's kind of what I heard. That's fun though.
Yeah. I mean, I would recommend it. I don't know that. I mean, unless you're super interested, I don't know that it's a go out immediately, spend full price on a hardback book. But then I'm also not the target audience for this because I'm reading the Captain Space Pants book 87 series. So
sure.
Speaking of Space Pants, let's talk about
Space Pants.
Sony PlayStation Pants. State of Pants live stream. PlayStation State of Pants.
Just sure.
Crash Bandicoot 4 has lots of different pants in it. They told us so in the Crash Bandicoot thing.
Did they?
They did.
Okay.
So yeah, we got a bunch of different stuff today. This is definitely not like a full PS5. There's a couple of PS5 things in here, but it was not at all focused on the PS5. A lot of this stuff was PS4. A lot of this was stuff coming out later this year. This was not. I mean, I turned off the YouTube chat because I didn't want to see the where's Spider-Man for 40 minutes while watching this?
Oh, man. All that shit. The instant I heard that about all that shit, I was just like, I don't care. I'm tired. Just the words console exclusive Spider-Man made me want to.
Wait, calm down, Matt. Calm down. We're gonna get to console exclusive Spider-Man. We got to get through this whole state of play though before we get to console exclusive Spider-Man.
Fine.
I gotta say that this trailer for Crash Bandicoot made me more excited for Crash Bandicoot than I was because it looks like I was reminded that Toys for Bob did such a good job with the Spyro trilogy.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of the gameplay in here looks like there's a little bit, like there's some of the parts that are kind of on rails, but then it looks like there's also some parts that have a little bit more flexibility. Like one of the things that I don't like about, or that I did not like about Crash when I played it, was that it was like a very limited verb set, and then it was just a matter of you executing that verb set correctly and memorizing the levels in order to do so. Whereas in this trailer, they showed like these different powers and different, just kind of, it seemed like there was more than one way to get through the level, and I'm hoping that's the case, because they also talked about this kind of, these kind of alt modes later on in the trailer.
Yeah, these kind of these power-ups and stuff. They're like they just give you new power sets in order to change the way you interact with the environment mostly.
Yeah, the inverted mode, where it's like a more of like a time attack, and then they all have like these different like render modes and stuff.
Oh, I was sorry, I was getting that mixed up with the different tiki masks or whatever they are. Giving you different powers. But yeah, no, I know what you mean. Like where there's a mode where it's the entire world is grayscale, and you have to like add paint to it in order to kind of know what you're doing. Which is that's fun. That's a fun idea.
It's your favorite game, right? I mean, like that's just Okami, but with a Crash Bandicoot skin on. So
Okami, but with a Bandicoot.
Yes.
Pretty much, yeah. No. I mean, it's not. Shut up. No, just kidding. I actually really like the look of this because it has that really beautiful Toys for Bob animation and art style. Because actually, Morgan and I had our anniversary weekend fairly recently, and as for my gift that she got for me, she got me the art book for the Spyro trilogy, and I mean it's gorgeous. It's pretty much just 100-something pages of different dragons, which I'm just like, yes, please. So yeah. Also, I was not aware that a dingo dial was a thing.
Me neither. I had no idea what the dingo dial is, but apparently that's going to be one of the playable characters along with Dr. whatever insane
Cortex,
Dr. Neo Cortex, and Coco, yeah. Coco Bandicoot. So
yeah, while I was watching this trailer, the first thing I thought of was, man, there's a lot of porn of these characters. Anyway,
I don't know. I'm still not exactly. I mean, like Crash Bandicoot, the Reloaded trilogy was very, or whatever it was called, very much was just like, this is not my kind of game. Like, I'm just not into this like super hardcore platforming, memorize the level and then execute perfectly. I like it more when a game gives you a little bit more latitude to fail and then come back from failure instead of just like, well, start over now. You fucked it up. You didn't memorize where that thing was. You don't have the reflexes of an 8-year-old, so start over, old man.
Kindly go fuck yourself and play this game again.
Yeah, but this actually looks a little bit better to me than that. But I'll tell you what looks even better than Crash Bandicoot, and that's Hitman 3. Which
the hitting
apparently is also going to include a VR mode for some reason. I don't know. I can't say I saw this one coming. I was hit in the back of the head with a thrown fish, just like one of Agent 47's targets, because I did not see PSVR support for Hitman 3 that then is also retroactive for both of the previous games all the way back to the Hitman 1 levels.
Okay, so I remember seeing this and thinking like, oh, this is it's more Hitman stuff. That's pretty neat. Sure looks pretty. I know Jeff is gonna enjoy this. And as soon as the VR logo came up, because it goes into first person mode in the trailer, and I'm thinking like, oh, that's a neat choice. And then the little VR thing comes up, and I'm like, oh, Jeff is really gonna like this.
Well, okay, but see, here's the thing, Matt.
Or just be confused.
Hitman. Okay, so here's my question about this. I might not enjoy this because Hitman is such a tight experience that I really hope that what you're doing here is just kind of seeing the world from first person. But I really hope that you're not controlling it with the dumb ice cream cones. Because
Sure.
The thing is that there's so many things in Hitman. Like, I don't want to have to swing my arm to knock somebody out. I don't want to have to aim. Like, one of the cool things about Hitman is the feeling that you are controlling like this master assassin, this very capable character. And a lot of the things that you do in the levels of Hitman are they're based on that. So like, I kind of like the idea of just being able to, hit a button to choke somebody out, aim with a controller, but having the ability to be able to look around in first person. So far, most VR developers seem to not like that as a concept because they want it to be like this very one-to-one, your hands type of thing. But
These hands!
I also don't know if I want to... If you have to literally take the piano wire and strangle a guy like from a first person perspective, I don't know that I'm super interested in doing that, Matt. Like, I don't know if I want to do that.
Jeff, but you have to feel the murder, Jeff. You have to feel it. Feel it inside of yourself.
I don't know. I'm a little scared of first-person Hitman. I also, wonder, if they're doing this whole thing, if that means that that just Hitman 3 will have a VR or will have a first-person perspective mode that you could use just to play the game in first person. So,
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to know more. I'm not. I will. I'm not gonna play the Hitman VR.
I was gonna say, you're gallivanting and confabulating all over the place here, and here I am just sitting on this like, yeah, but you're gonna play it, Jeff.
Oh well, fuck yes, I'm going to play it. I'm going to buy Hitman 3 as soon as it's humanly available, and then play all of it forever and ever. The end. Amen.
Amen. Our Lord and Savior, Agent 47. Amen.
Yeah. This next one came a little bit of a surprise because it had this very like detailed like live action opening, but I was gonna say Fez. It's not Fez. Braid is getting remade, kind of upgraded for a re-release in the Braid Anniversary Edition. Did you ever play Braid, Matt?
This was one of those games that, like, I feel like was right there at the kicking off point in around about 2010, 2011, I want to say, when Steam was really picking up steam. And hey, you paid for that. You're getting what you're paying for, people. But no, I remember it was one of those games I kept hearing about, but I never got around to playing. Because by the time I had even heard about it, it was like, oh, but then there's Bastion, and then there's the other game that people from Bastion made, and all these indie darlings just coming out of the woodwork. And that was when I had just been rapid fire downloading games and not playing all of them. But yeah, I never got to play this one. But as I understand it, it's a very, very good game.
It is. It is extremely good. It's not that long. It's very, very, very clever. And then it's basically just like, what if a platformer had a rewind button, and then there's like 4 or 5 different worlds, and every single level is like a new challenge on how you basically use those time manipulation powers to get to the end of the level. It also has this weird like meta thing where it's like it's about the creation of the atom bomb, but I never really understood that.
Spoilers, Jeff.
There is no way in the world that you could play that game and understand and get that out of it. You would be like, oh, I get what this game is about. And it's like, well, actually...
Do you?
But it's also apparently got a bunch of new commentary for how the game was made. So, yeah, I mean, I like Braid. I don't know that I would ever play it again, but I would highly suggest that you play it, Matt. I mean, I don't know. It's only 6 hours long, and it's probably going to be like $20. So,
well, maybe in the next 4 years when I finish Ghost of Tsushima, I'll consider it.
Let's see. From there, we saw The Pathless, which this is being made by the people that made Abzu, which is the like swimming underwater, fucking hanging out, doing stuff thing that Brian and I bitched about for 30 minutes on a dojo.
Yeah.
I have to say that there's something missing in this trailer and what they showed for me. Like, I see a lady and a bird, and they're running around, and they're solving puzzles, and there's some like kind of Dark Souls style boss fights, but it all just feels a little flat to me. Like, it seems like there's nothing. Okay, I'm trying to figure out the best way to put this. Is like, I just feel like there's something that's keeping me from getting interested in this, because it just kind of seems like I like the idea of, like, they've got this mechanic they show where you shoot these targets on the fly and it makes you run faster. So you run more quickly through the world by shooting these targets. And then you can jump and grab your bird and kind of glide onto like stuff. But I don't know. It just isn't doing it for me. Like, maybe it's that there's not combat and I'm such a junkie for combat, or maybe it's just that it looks too much like hey man, just explore this world and like chill out with some fun puzzles and like pet your eagle, pet your falcon, and like make sure your falcon's clean and you'll love each other, and like, cleanse the world.
Make sure your fucking falcon's clean and love each other, you piece of shit. Don't tell me to love my bird.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that people can't love their birds, but I'm just saying that that does not a compelling game make for Jeff from Rage Select. I'm sure you maybe have a different opinion, but
no, I was actually of a similar persuasion to you, Jeff, because I saw it and I was thinking like, oh, well, that animation is very clean and very nice, but there's not a whole lot to this. And my first thought was something along the lines of Journey or Flower, some really super high concept, brutally streamlined execution type of game. Mm-hmm. But the more I saw of it, the more I kind of liked it. And I think that I really like the character design of the main character. Like, once I got a better look at her, I was like, oh, I actually really like this very elegant design. And I'm not gonna lie, you hug the eagle, and I want to hug the eagle because they look like they love each other, and it's very sweet.
I don't know. I mean, it looks an awful lot to me like a Zelda game that doesn't actually have any enemies in it, where it's just dungeons and bosses. And for me, that seems like I need the random encounters with moblins in Zelda, because every time they've made a game that's been like just boss rush or just like Zelda dungeon, I just get bored of it. Like, because there's not the pushback of trying to get to a place. And like, when you talk about Journey and Flower, I look at this and it just doesn't. Maybe the thing is that Journey and Flower both had such striking ass art styles, and this is fine, but it's not just like, ooh, that's beautiful. I've never seen what that looks like before. It just, I mean, it's forests and ruins and like a character walking around. I don't know. It's just, there's something missing. There's some spice missing in this to me.
I could actually really respect that, because again, that was my initial reaction. I was like, this art style looks like I've seen this in a dozen different places, which honestly kind of became a recurring thing during this PlayStation State of Play thing, where I'm just like, and I sure have seen a lot of these art styles before. Another thing I wanted to say real quick, as a personal anecdote, when there's like a premiere of something or a live stream of something, I'm just thinking about how every Friday there's a simulcast of the new Ultraman episode, and you see the comments in the simulcast, and it's mostly people from Japan and East Asia saying, I love this. This is fun. I like this character. Oh, this is a really interesting choice they went with. The PlayStation State of Play live chat or whatever made me want to just claw my eyes out.
Never look at the chat on a video game live stream, Matt. Good God. There will be people in the chat for the Sony State of Play like, when's the new Smash Brothers character going to be announced? And it's just like, why would that happen here? This is the PlayStation. And then people are like, my mom is mad at me. And it's like, what does that have to do with this? No, never. Oh God, never do that. Never do that.
Definitely, well, that's the problem is that I had my resistance had gotten worn down because I was used to Kaiju, like with Kaiju Conline. We had all of these lovely comments from people who were genuinely excited about the panels we were having.
Yeah.
And, bleh. And it's just like, and then I look over there, I'm like, no.
No, don't do that.
Because it was just this constant, like, I don't care. And no one plays Crash Bandicoot. And Halo is better than Final Fantasy, and I'm just like,
Matt.
My brain.
Don't look at it, Marion. Like, fucking close your eyes. Like, I hid
the chat. Eventually, I hid the chat.
Yeah, don't ever fucking read the chat on a video game live stream. Good God, man. Yeah, it's insanity. It's complete insanity. Anyway, we got to pick up the pace here because we got a lot to get through. Spelunky 2 got a big thing. I don't know about you, Matt. I don't like Spelunky. I tried playing it. I know a lot of people like it. It just the way that you lose everything. Like, I don't like roguelikes where you put all the way back to nothing when you start over. Like, I've never been a fan of roguelikes where, the only thing in Spelunky is eventually you could open up a thing that would let you get to a further level, but there was nothing to like empower you to get outside of you getting better as a player. And like watching this trailer for Spelunky made me tired. I was just like, whatever this is going on in here, I don't understand it and I don't really want to play it. So
whatever's going on, it was... Why, I used to be with it, but then they changed what it was.
Yeah.
And now what's it isn't it. And what's it is weird and scary to me. Sorry, I just, you know me. I get a Simpsons quote in my head, and you have to hear the whole thing.
The thing is that I've never liked Spelunky. Like, when it came out, everybody was into it, and I was just like, no, I'll take Rogue Legacy or, any of the other roguelikes where you get to basically carry over some amount of progression between runs as opposed to having to start from scratch and making the whole thing like a, Also, the gameplay in it is... It's just very strange to me. I don't like it. Like, there's several points in this where a character is trying to do something and then suddenly something just comes out of the side of the level and kills them. And I'm like, I don't enjoy that style of gameplay. Like, I'm not a big fan of just you got murdered because bad luck, son, start over. And I'm like, it makes me feel like I'm wasting my time when I play games like that, because when I die, it's like, well, why did I even do any of that in the first place? Like, it's not for me. It's not for me is what it is. I'm sure it's for somebody, but not me.
I was going to say, this is... oh, God. Sorry, I'm just watching the video again, and that guy just got crushed by a clam. I got to say, like, this is fine. Like, it's one of those things, like, I'm kind of with you, where I'm just like, I've never played this, and it just kind of looks like a whole lot of other roguelikes out there. But that being said... I feel like there's actually a kernel of an idea here where the idea for me of descending down into the earth and encountering strange creatures and finding treasure or whatnot, to me sounds like you could take more of a Metroid approach, where the idea is isolation and kind of fear in a certain sense, and like basically make it a horror game. And I'd play the hell out of that. Isn't that basically Darkest Dungeons? But it's not a Metroidvania. It's a
sort of. There's some stuff like that. Dead Cells isn't a lot like that. Dead Cells is more of like a procedurally generated roguelike Metroidvania. But Dead Cells, again, I played the shit out of Dead Cells. In Dead Cells, you build up like currency and unlock items in each run that then get applied to the next run, and so you get like a larger selection of weapons and powers and items to choose from. So I don't know. The thing is that I tried Spelunky and I couldn't get it. I just didn't click with me. So I don't know.
All right.
Fine. This is one, Matt, that I feel like you need to be into. Genshin Impact. Do you know about this? Have you heard about?
This is the first I've heard of it.
Okay.
My first thought was,
this is some anime bullshit.
It's not just that. It's just straight Breath of the Wild. Like, that art style is just straight Breath of the Wild, but more anime. Just more anime in it. And I feel like had Breath of the Wild, if it didn't exist, I'd probably be super into this. I don't know. I'm certainly not opposed to trying it out, because I like me some anime bullshit, and there's some objectively cool looking stuff in this. So yeah, I was very taken aback by, I was like, whoa, okay, straight up, like, that is a Moblin camp with exploding barrels, and all right, well, sure.
The developers have literally come out and said that they were heavily influenced by Breath of the Wild. Like, there's no trying to hide it here. It's just like, hey, we wanted to make Breath of the Wild, but with a bunch of anime bullshit. And apparently you get 4 different characters, and each character, there's up to 30 collectible characters, but then each character has a different power. So unlike Link collecting all the stuff, it's like you're going to have ice-powered person, then you could swap them into your party and out if you need them, etc., etc. I think I read a story a few weeks back where people were like mad at this developer for copying, like Nintendo fans were mad that this developer would dare to copy Breath of the Wild, and it was like, guys, if it's popular, somebody's going to copy it. Like,
well, I mean, and honestly, well, then I'll have to give them props for just being upfront about it and be like, yeah, we wanted to take Breath of the Wild, and I mean, people, I guess, were acting the same way about Darksiders, where they were just like, this is Zelda and Portal. And it's like, yeah, but it's also like really good and well made. And
I mean, I'm not going back to Breath of the Wild until the sequel comes out. So if this is a way for me to get like 60% of what Breath of the Wild was, I'll give it a try. I mean, like, why not? You know, why not just give it a try? See what's going on.
Why not? Sure.
Yeah. I was just about to say, I don't prejudge anything, and then I remembered that not 3 minutes ago I was prejudging Spelunky up and down and left and right. So
I don't prejudge anything except for things that I've prejudged already. Prejudging,
correct. From here we got, this is a really strange one. I forget what it's called. Aeon Must Die. This is a Focus Interactive joint, who everybody knows is a weird European mid-tier publisher. I can't get a handle on what this is, whether it's like an RPG or whether it's like a weird fighting game, but it's just like a bunch of really strange looking Gurren Lagann meets Kill la Kill meets, I don't know, Tron like characters blowing up the entire universe, and with some cool music behind it. But Matt, there is something wrong with this.
What's that?
The day before this came out, yesterday, like the entire development staff and the head of this studio quit due to crunch working conditions, abuse by the owner of the studio, and like a whole slew of stuff. In fact, one of the things they said was that you can't show this because we had a bunch of independent contractors who did artwork that's in this trailer that haven't gotten paid yet. So, like, you don't even really own this footage that you're showing on this trailer.
Ooh, baby bear. I did not know about that. That definitely changes things.
Yeah. This game looks cool, and apparently, like, all of the people that were working on it, as well as the owner of the director, are like in contact with Focus Interactive, trying to like work out it. They're like, we would like to finish this, but we do not want to work for those fucking assholes because they don't pay ya. The people got fired for no reason. There's just like crunch all day, every day, like really terrible working conditions. So I'm all in favor. I really hope this has a happy ending and that they get to finish the game that they set out to make, because this looks really cool. It looks really cool.
I was going to say, this looks like one of those things where it's kind of a crossroad nexus point between stuff that Jeff likes and stuff that Matt likes. Mm-hmm. So, I would play this. I would definitely play this.
Yeah. I don't know. I want it to. I want there to be a happy ending to this story because the actual trailer for this looks rad as hell. And if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend you go watch the Aeon Must Try trailer because it's glitzy and but then also I'm a little bit worried because I always feel like Focus Interactive games, Matt, are like 70% a good game, but they're always missing like something on the other side. Like, so I don't know.
Fair enough. Well, I guess we will wait and see.
Mm-hmm. From there, let's see. We had, this is Anno Mutation M.
Just make words. Just name your game a word.
Yeah. And this is a very strange, like side-scrolling kind of anime. I don't know. It's funny because they started and it was like this character, this like anime lady character running around, and I was like, oh no, is this like an adventure game or something? And then there was a bunch of like laser swords and like combos and shooting stuff, and it looks like a side scroller, and I'm just like, oh yeah, fuck that, I'm in and I want to play this. So
yeah, I couldn't really they're really this sorry, I just the part of the trailer with all the giant crosses and stuff, and I'm just like, oh, I see we are wearing our anime fandom on our sleeve with the giant red sea and everything, but still, like, it's sort of I can't get a handle on exactly what this game is supposed to be. It's supposed to be about.
Yeah.
But the opening, I was like, okay, it's sort of a Ghost in the Shell kind of thing. But then you get the crazy red sea with the giant crosses and the whatevers, and I'm like, now I don't know. So, looks like fun, though. Looks cool.
I don't know. I'll give it a shot. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I say that on this show. Like, I'm not going to play every single game that comes out.
You're gonna play it.
I won't watch TV shows or movies that are very popular that everybody's seen before. But I'll play the weird anime game with the crosses and the sea and the girl and et cetera, et cetera.
Sure.
All right, let's see. From there, we got some bug snacks, which I'm super happy about. Do you know? Did you watch the PS5 thing with the bug snacks, right?
Yeah. After that thing, Morgan and I sat and we like watched all the trailers from that PS5 announcement, and we saw this and we were like, this is cute. Probably not up our alley, but I did like that with the new trailer, they've leaned a little harder into whatever the framing device is for the story, which is like this angry newspaper editor who's like, fucking bug snacks, piece of shit. And I'm like, whoa.
It looks, I mean, you know what it reminds me an awful lot of is Viva Pinata. Like, you're capturing all these little, I mean, you're not raising them, but you're capturing all of these like crazy bug snacks. Also, I don't know if you all know this, but this is like from the people that made Octodad, and I am a big fan of the Octodad sense of humor. I like the fact that every character in this game is just a Muppet. Like, even the way they talk, their heads scoot back like a Muppet. They all look like Grover. They look like Grover's descendants, but except they've got like weird food arms because of the bug snacks they've been eating. There is no amount of crazy. All of the crazy in this added up together, divided by Jeff, equals like smiley face. I want to play this game immediately. I'm a big fan of this bug snacks. So
cool. Whoa. I forgot about the giant flying pizza dactyl.
Yep. That was like a pizza Mothra, right?
Oh my god, that might be the thing that gets me, is if there's like giant kaiju made out of food.
Well, I don't know if you remember at the end of the Bug Snacks trailer before, it was like the character walks off and then there's like this amalgamation of a bunch of different bug snacks, like jump scare jumps at the camera and goes like "Arr!" like at the very end of the original Bug Snacks.
I don't remember that. Maybe I didn't watch the whole trailer. Well, either way, I'm sure, like you said, I will wait and see you play it, and then I will make a decision from there. Well, it's also PS5, and God knows I'm not dropping for a PlayStation 5 right out the gate, but
man, I was so hoping they were going to announce the pre-order date for the PlayStation 5. I've got all this money saved for the PlayStation 5, and I'm like, just let me spend my money, Sony. Fuck. Let's see. From there, we found out that Vader Immortal is coming to the PSVR. This was originally an Oculus exclusive, and it's funny. Jason actually played this because it was on the Oculus Quest, and everything I've heard about this is that this is good. Like, and it makes sense because the minute that VR was a thing and we all had the like fucking wand in our hands, it was like, yeah, make a Star Wars game, right?
But Jeff, we had the Kinect Star Wars game, the perfect Star Wars experience. Jeff,
nope.
I gotta be. I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I gotta be honest. Maybe this is good. I'm so fucking tired of Star Wars. I'm just like, I don't like that. I don't like being tired of something, especially something that I wasn't even that into to begin with.
Sure.
I'm just kind of like, I saw the title, Vader Immortal, and I didn't know that it was a pre-existing game. I thought, oh, it's a Darth Vader simulator? Okay, I might be interested. I want to crush some larynxes. No, it's not that. Vader's just kind of in it. You have to stop Vader, and it's like, yeah, but you're not going to, because he's Vader, and he doesn't get stopped until the movies. I don't know. Just...
I mean, I think that the one thing, like, okay, the pitch that I make for it is that there has not yet been a use a lightsaber in the Star Wars universe VR game, and if there was one thing to do with VR, it's use a goddamn lightsaber in the goddamn Star Wars universe. I mean, like, I love Beat Saber, and that's just using lightsabers to play fucking Rock Band. Like, that's all that is. And I'm just like, yeah, I got lightsabers and I'm playing techno music. Woo! So if you could just give me like some stormtroopers that I can cut in half with a lightsaber, I will give it a try. I mean, obviously, but I mean, I still will give it a try. You don't even have to tell me anything about the second DLC for Control, which we saw, because I already bought the season pass. We got a trailer for the Alan Wake, the AWE Alan Wake DLC for Control, which couldn't be happier for. I'm super, super goddamn happy for this, and I can't wait to play more Control.
Yeah, really, color me surprised. Just as a quick interjection, color me surprised that an Alan Wake Control. That's pretty interesting. I still haven't played Control though, and I know you highly recommend it.
Favorite game from last year, hands down.
Yes,
easy peasy. Well, one of the things you find in Control is you find that this organization, this SCP organization that's been collecting things, dealt with the aftermath of what happened to Alan Wake. That Alan Wake is inside of this universe. So when they announced the DLC, the second one was called AWE, which Alan Wake, and then it also had the theming, which you could see of like the Alan Wake, of this kind of like forest and flashlights and stuff. So it was always a good bet that they were going to just go full fan service and be like, yep, let's just cross these two over and everybody can have their orgasms and we can just get on with our lives. So
I gotta tell you that I love that. That makes me want to go back and play Alan Wake and then play Control so I can play this place expansion. Again, 4 years, I will hopefully free the island of Tsushima and we can all move on with our lives. But another thing I wanted to say real quick, liking all the female protagonists, liking all the ladies here. I feel like I don't know. It's nice. It's nice. I feel like that's something that, and maybe this is a good thing, that people kind of stopped noticing that. You know, it's sort of becoming a little more balanced out because as far as I can remember from the trailers we've watched, I mean, even Crash Bandicoot is sharing a lot of the marquee with Coco Bandicoot, and then like the game about what was it, Aeon Must Die? That's I think the only other game that has like a set central male protagonist that we know of. Does that make sense? Am I off base?
Sort of. I mean, Agent 47's a guy. The main character, Braid, is a guy.
I don't want to hear it.
And a lot of these also, I mean, the thing is that I feel like as we move forward, a lot of these games have a choice, right? Like,
Right.
Spelunky 2 lets you kind of choose what kind of what the skin you want on your main character. They using the one that's like the daughter from the first one, but Spelunky itself had the ability to switch between different things. You know, the Genshin Impact obviously has a big group of different people in it. I just like the fact that there's a lot of different choices going on. I mean, we don't even know what Bug Snacks is. We just know.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Like I would say, then I think that is a good thing. It's like, oh my God, a positive change in the world, Jeff. We can have our druthers when it comes to gender and our protagonists in video games. Fucking 2020, best year ever. Am I right?
I mean, like, I don't want to go off too hard on a tangent, but I keep track of this stuff every year, and like it's been trending that direction for the last 5 years. A lot more games that have female protagonists or the ability to choose who your protagonist is. But if you don't watch this stuff all day, every day, and then like, I could definitely see how that comes across well. Michael made a very similar statement about the Xbox presentation a couple weeks back.
Well, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I mean, you know, let's keep the variety coming. I mean, I would argue that this is the biggest variety we've had in gaming in decades. So, go ahead.
Okay. Let's see. Next up, we had auto chess. I'm not going to say anything about that. Auto chess is not for me. Auto chess is like, I don't want to play auto chess. Matt, I'm not going to explain to you what auto chess is because you don't want to play auto chess either.
Oh no, I know what auto chess is, and I'll tell you off mic. But I will say that I don't know. I mean, people like this stuff, and then that's great. They should absolutely have it. But this looks pretty generic, personally. Like, I can't really get into this.
I mean, it's auto chess. I tried playing auto chess and it was boring as hell, and I'm like, I don't want to do this. So if you want to do this, great. You could do it in October.
Sure.
Yeah. You should also play the Pedestrian in October because the Pedestrian is freaking awesome.
That looks really cool.
I played this with Bryce a few earlier this year. It came out on the PC and we played it, and it's like a really fun little puzzle game of, you know, connecting various things and then running your little avatar through different parts of the world. So
yeah, this looks really cool and really creative, and even I might just pick this up even if I don't intend to like play it immediately or even play it all the way through. I want to pick this up just to support games like this that are really creative, high concept games.
Yeah. No, it really is very fun, and they cycle through the different types of puzzle mechanics pretty regularly in a way that is really, really satisfying to do. So, let's see. From there, we got a look at is this that Focus Interactive thing that looks generic as hell? Yeah, Hood, Outlaws and Legends.
Go ahead.
This one my brain refused to engage with, where it was just like, is this Greedfall 2? And it's like, no. And then I thought it might be a stealth trailer for a new Styx game. Where at the end, Styx was going to come in and kill all these guys, and it was going to be like, haha, it's a Styx game. And it was like, no, it's this really weirdly generic, I guess you're playing as like Robin Hood, like a 4-player co-op thing, and I don't know. This one bounced off me pretty hard. I feel like on the one hand, I'm all for aggressive reinterpretations of folk stories and myths and legends and things like that. On the other hand, man, this just looks like everything else. It looks... And I feel like that's kind of the problem with a lot of reinterpretations of folk stories and stuff, is that it always kind of winds up feeling the same, like, oh, but this is Moby Dick, but it's in space, and
this is Frankenstein, but it's in space, and this is a dark and serious kind of Dark Souls-y looking, just aesthetically looking Robin Hood I don't know. The more I'm talking about it, the less I like it.
The major problem here is that we have no idea what this game even is. Like, is what we're seeing gameplay? Is this a pre-rendered trailer? Is it a 4-player co-op thing? Because at the end, the 4 players get like jacked by another set of 4 players. Like, I don't really know what kind of game this is. Like, there's some brief gameplay, and it kind of looks like Greedfall / Assassin's Creed / those like kingdom battle simulators that we've seen from time to time, like Chivalry. But it's one of those things where I need to know why I'm supposed to be excited, and I don't know why I should be excited about this. I do know why I should be excited about Temtem, because Temtem has been getting extremely good it had a very, 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 very good reception on Steam, where it was like somebody finally just decided, you know what, Nintendo, if you're not going to make the Pokemon game that we want, then we're just going to make the Pokemon game that everybody wants. And that's what this game is it is a Pokemon game that does all the things that the people who play Pokemon want it to do, as near as I understand, because I don't know what the things that people that play Pokemon want to do are, because I don't play Pokemon. But this got like nothing but good responses from its release on Steam. It's apparently very, very cool, and it's going to be coming to the PlayStation eventually. In 2021.
I as someone who used to play a lot of Pokemon and always kind of wanted what I assume is an open world MMO style Pokemon game where you get to interact with people and battle directly with people. I'm actually surprised, because I was under the impression that Nintendo had already done that, but I guess they haven't.
I think that right now that is Pokemon Go, right? Because the latest one, I guess there's certain areas where you can explore. No, you can like group up into an instance dungeon with some people, but I don't think you can just straight up like join in. I don't think I could be like, hey Matt, join my game, let's run around and play Pokemon as like a multiplayer game. And I guess that's what people want. I don't know.
Sure, yeah.
Last but not least, we had Jesus Christ, I goddamn could not care less about Godfall. This is like the 5th time they've tried to show me Godfall, and I don't know if they got burned so hard, if Gearbox got burned so hard making Battleborn that they decided, like, the takeaway from Battleborn was like, well, nobody wants to know the backstory of the universe. We need to go into like excruciating detail about how the individual combat mechanics of our really generic looking game go, because that's what the last like 10 to 12 minutes of this is, just watching a developer play Godfall and talk in excruciating detail about how like the mechanics of combat work. And I met Matt. I got nothing for this game. It's so just like generic. Like I said in the Discord when we were watching this game looks like those speed tests that you run on your PC to see how fast your video card is. It looks like one of those generic tests that flies through like a big temple, and it's got some guys in it and they're fighting, and then there's like, here's the trees with the red leaves on them in the background to check your color saturation levels. This thing looks like, I mean, I need you to tell me reason one about what is going on in the story, because while a game with good mechanics is I prefer games that have good mechanics, the thing that invests me in a game is the story, and I have no idea what the fuck the story is for this. It's so goddamn generic. Like, I
gotta be honest, I was looking at this and I kind of was skipping around in it because I'm like, okay. And I kept looking, and I'm like, what am I missing here?
Nothing.
What's the hook?
Nothing.
There's no hook. It's just, here's some knights, and I was almost more surprised that there was so little to this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe it plays fine. Maybe it just looks like, you know what it is? It looks like Destiny,
Yeah.
but with no guns.
Yeah.
Like it looks that level of, and I know that Destiny has its fans, and I know Destiny is a fine game, but I always thought Destiny was very generic.
It looks like Destiny and Kingdoms of Amalur had a baby.
Ooh.
Like, that's what it looks like to me. And
nice. What happened, cut, dude?
no, I mean, I know that because they're re-releasing that thing in like 3 or 4 months. Yeah.
What? What?
Yeah. Yeah. Because people are nostalgic for that piece of garbage. But yeah, I don't understand it either. But no,
industry.
The thing is that it's like, it just, so one of the things that they've been talking about is how this game is like 50% player skill and then 50% loot, right? So like your ability to face more difficult challenges is going to be based not on your ability to learn the systems, well, partially on your ability to learn the systems in a very skill-driven way, and then partially on your ability to get loot. And I'm like, that sounds like an unsatisfying mix of two things where, like, if it's just about loot grinding, then fine, let's go on raids until I get the fucking, the sword that I need to beat the next raid boss, and then we can all group up and do the next raid boss. But if it's about skill, then you say to your friends, hey, get good, noob, we got to kill the fucking, the Ivory King tomorrow in co-op of Dark Souls 2. But the idea that you're going to put those two things together, so like no matter how good you are at the game, you will have to grind for equipment, and no matter what equipment you have, you will have to have a certain amount of like play proficiency in order to move forward. Like, can you imagine that if you had like really good equipment, but there's still something that's gating your progress because you physically are not good enough at playing the game? Like, I can't think of a more unsatisfying marriage of mechanics where it's like pick one or the other. Like, if I know that there are some MMOs that are all about real-time combat and you have to have skill to play them. And then there's things like Destiny. Well, and I'm not saying that you don't have to have any skill to play Destiny, but I'm saying that, like, your World of Warcrafts and some of your Destinies, right? A lot of your progression is based on, like, what level are you? How powerful are you? And if you're powerful enough, then you should be taking on X challenges until you get powerful enough to get to Y challenges, until you get powerful enough to get to, the end game content. Like nobody like level 0 speed runs the Destiny campaign, right? Like I don't know. Nobody like I beat the Destiny campaign on Donkey Kongas because if you're good enough at Destiny, you could beat the final boss at level 0 with just the starting equipment with a fucking dance pad, because that's not a thing, right? I don't understand. And
yeah. Take a breath. Take a breath, buddy.
No.
Okay. No, I will die on this. I will die on Mike. Last thing I will say is, it's just that it feels to me like Gearbox has been. Am I okay? Maybe I'm out of the loop, but has Gearbox really been floundering for a while? I mean,
yes.
Yeah. This feels like, because wasn't Battleborn their last big attempted release?
I'm sorry. Borderlands 3 is very popular. Borderlands 3 is a very popular game for them.
Well, I guess that's fine then. It's just but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh right, they're the Borderlands guys. And then the more I think about that, I'm like, oh right, they kind of suck in certain ways. So I don't know.
And just to be honest, they're publishing Godfall. They aren't making it. Godfall is being made by a company called Counterplay Games, and I haven't looked them up to see what they're doing, but I don't know, man. I think they might have been an original studio that was created just to make this game. But I don't know. There's just, okay, here's the thing, Matt. There's nothing wrong with this trailer. It's just excruciatingly generic, right? And if there was a story trailer that was like thousands of years ago, the fucking
Thousands of years ago,
the vanquished took over the hinterlands from Godfall. Thousands of years later, the Godfall must band together to take back the world in ruin and rejuvenate the shard of light that's been watched over for 100 years by Princess Spectacular and her fucking, valiant minions of man meat. And like, if you just tell me some stuff, then I might get interested. But like the idea that it's like, hey, look, you can hit somebody with a sword. Don't you want to do that? And I'm like, well, yes, but you need to tell me more than that. This either needs to look like no game I've ever seen before, which it doesn't. Like I said, it looks like a fucking 3DFX tech demo, or you need to get me going with the story, which you haven't because you're too busy. And they even said at the end of this, like, we're going to come back in a month and we're going to talk to you about the upgrade progression and we're going to talk about the loot system. And I'm like, tell me about the fucking storyline, because it's supposed to have like a single player story that you can play online with other people. It's like, well, it matters what that story is, to me at least. Like some people probably. I just got it, Matt. I just understood. I know what this is.
What is it?
It's what you said. It's fucking Destiny for people who want to use a sword. It's like Monster Hunter. Like if people don't like Monster Hunter, nobody ever tells me how the story for Monster Hunter is like super, compelling and that you got to play the story mode for Monster Hunter. Everybody's just like, I love getting online with my friends in a 4-player group and wasting time and hanging out with my friends and burning through the next challenge. And so if that's the case, why not just make Destiny with swords? And who cares about the story? The story for Destiny is all on a website. You've got to look it up on a URL that you get in the game. So why not just make Destiny with swords, and then everybody can hang out with their buddies and you can play your 4-player kind of half Devil May Cry, Dark Souls, half, Destiny game.
Well, don't worry, Jeff. They'll get Tyrion Lannister to come in and do a half-ass voiceover and then plaster his name all over the box. The one thing I will say, this is the last thing I will say. This is the last thing. Can we make Princess Spectacular her valiant minions of man meat in like a band or a game? Can we get that Kickstarter going?
You know what? What you could do, Matt, is that could be the next Rage Select T-shirt. And since only like a very small number of people on YouTube watch the podcast, people will be like utterly and completely confused about like, what the fuck is Princess Spectacular? And I'll be like, it's you got to listen to this one podcast that Matt and I did about the PlayStation thing where I ranted about Godfall for 10 minutes and then realized, oh yeah, everybody in the world doesn't play the same games as Jeff for the same reasons that Jeff does, and so maybe they're just way more interested in what the things are.
Princess Spectacular valiant minions of man meat, and I've made the note, and we will be revisiting that in the future.
All right. Well, speaking of revisiting, we have managed to once again stretch out the first part to the maximum amount of Rage Select podcast. So now we're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we are going to talk about all the rest of the things that happened.
Kill me now.
We'll
Kill me now.
No, not until we're done. And
God damn it.
It's time for the whole other half of the news, because there was news this week that wasn't just that one thing that we did at the beginning. So now we're going to do the whole other part of the podcast. No. Are you ready? Are you psyched?
Sure.
Are you pumped?
I'm pump's one word for it. Yeah, let's do this. I'm gonna slap myself in the face a couple times.
Yeah, that's why I already slapped myself in the face a couple times.
I know, I saw it.
Get my shit together.
Let's burn through this because I just got my Gamera Blu-ray set in the mail and I want to dig into it like a little piggy looking for truffles.
All right. Yes, let us indeed get into it. All right. So every week on the Rage Select podcast, there's some controversy. There's some things that are making people on the internet really mad. And this week, that thing that is making people really mad is that Spider-Man is coming to Marvel's The Avengers video game, but as a PS4 exclusive.
Anyway.
Yep. So Spider-Man is coming to Avengers as a PS4 exclusive. As of this point of recording this, we know that there's been nothing said that this is going to be a timed exclusive, so we don't know if this is just going to be forever only on the PlayStation. We also know, we got a report that there will be no other platform exclusive character. So this isn't a case where Sony's getting Spider-Man and Xbox is getting fucking Deadpool and the PC is getting Gabe Newell or something. I don't even know how that would go, but so yeah, and it's funny because people are really mad about this, Matt. People are very, very angry that Spider-Man is going to be locked to one platform as opposed to everywhere. Now, I've got a lot of weird thoughts on this, but the thing that first comes to mind is it's funny. I don't care as much about Spider-Man as everybody else does. Like, I keep forgetting that
fucking Jason Murphy will kick the shit out of you.
No, he knows this, that Spider-Man, like Spider-Man, like because it's known, right, that it's like Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, right? Those are the most popular superheroes of all time. Everybody else, I think Iron Man is probably up there now, but Spider-Man is apparently a lot of people's favorite character, and the fact that this is going to be coming as a PlayStation exclusive also means that there's going to be story content in the Avengers game that is going to be just for Spider-Man and just on the PlayStation. And we also got confirmation this week that apparently, we already kind of knew that there was going to be crossplay between the different versions of the Avengers, so that, like, if you have the Xbox and I have the PlayStation, I could totally play in your game as Spider-Man, and you just do not have access to Spider-Man, Matt.
Oh, man.
So this is a little. I find it interesting that this is like the weird breaking point for a lot of people when it comes to like console exclusive things. Like that there's this big hubbub, like this has never happened before. I almost feel like some of the things that I'm seeing are like the reactions are that, like, how dare you not allow me to play as Spider-Man in this Avengers game that I don't really care all that much about and looks kind of bad. But this, I guess the thing that I kept thinking when I saw the amount of wailing and gnashing of teeth, and that a lot of these like articles that were like, this is anti-consumer, or that, like, you guys, like, they've really fucked it all up by putting Spider-Man only on the PlayStation. And I keep thinking, like, this is not the first time that there's been a console exclusive thing. This is not the first time that something has been locked out of other consoles, even timed for a certain amount of time. I guess it's weird to me because from my perspective, this is no more egregious than the idea that Gears of War is only on the Xbox, that I can't play Halo on my PS4 is similar to me. Like, the consoles like create content that is exclusive to their platform in order to get people to buy that platform. And I assume from the amount of wailing and gnashing of teeth that it's doing its job, because people don't want to buy a PlayStation platform. They want to play on their Xbox, but they want to play as Spider-Man. And it's very strange to me, because I feel like this isn't the first time that something like this has happened, and that we were all fine with it for a long time, kind of right up until right now, that it was like, right now this is a problem. And honestly, it's just, it's probably different for me because I get all the consoles. I get all the consoles and all the platforms. So
Right.
I'm never really locked out of something like this, but I don't know, Matt. Are you wailing? Are you gnashing? Are you mad? Are you rending your garments? Are you writing about the anti-competitive, late-stage consumerist nightmare shit show that is Spider-Man in the Avengers game?
As a game that was already not super high on my radar, and also given the fact that we all just played a really, 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 really good Spider-Man game.
Mm-hmm.
It just, I watched our old Jimmy Poots, old Jimmy Sturber, old Starryberry Jimmy Jones, Jim Sterling, and I watched his video about it, and partway through it, I realized, I think for the first time in a while, I'm not with you on this, Jim, because it's just, was it a slow news day? Is that why you're all worked up over this? Because it just doesn't seem like that's the hill we really want to die on. I don't know. I mean, I get it. I mean, people really, really like Spider-Man, though. Yeah. I get that. And I get that they want to see Spider-Man interacting with the other Avengers. Mm-hmm. Which, to me personally, I think Spider-Man works better on his own as a solo character. But I don't know. I can't. I'm with you, man. I can't muster the ire here.
I guess for me, it's just what it comes down to is that we like. I feel like when you look at this, that it becomes this weird philosophical question where it's like, well, why isn't it the same on every console, right? Why aren't all the versions of Avengers the same? And the answer is because Sony shoved a bunch of money into Crystal Dynamics / Square Enix's pocket to get something to get people to play the game on their platform. And like the concept of making something exclusive to your platform in order to get people to purchase that platform has been around for a long. I mean, like Demon Souls isn't available on anything but a PlayStation 3. You can't play Bloodborne on the PC or the Xbox One. And I know that it's not exactly the same because it's like, a piece that's been taken out. But like Michael was telling me, there were a bunch of characters in Street Fighter Cross Tekken on the 360 that were 360 exclusives. I mean, I remember when I think the DLC for Grand Theft Auto 4 was like a 360 exclusive. Like in the previous generation, Microsoft did this constantly. Like there were Call of Duty maps that were time locked for a certain amount of time. I think the Fallout 3 DLC was time locked for a certain amount of time as a console exclusive to that. I guess it's just weird to me that it's like, this is the strange straw where now the argument is, well, it should be the same for everybody. And I guess my response has always just been like, it's never been the same for everybody, right? Like if you want to play Sonic the Hedgehog games, you have to buy a Sega Genesis. You can't play Sonic the Hedgehog games on a Super Nintendo. And I know that, again, this is like a chunk of this, but when you think back to Soul Calibur 2 with Link and Spawn and Heihachi, right? Like, what if I wanted to play Link on my PlayStation 2? I don't know. I mean, the thing is that I feel like it's when I watched that Jim Sterling video, I messaged you to say that, like, I think that if you really have a serious problem with this thing, your response needs to be, I'm not going to buy that Avengers game. I'm going to demonstrate my displeasure, because if you get on social media and say this is shitty, but you still give them $60 for that Avengers game, they don't care whether you think Crystal Dynamics doesn't care whether you don't like them. They care whether you give them the $60 for the Avengers game. So to me, at least, the only way that you're going to get around this is not by like petitions and saying how much you hate them in a YouTube video. It's going to be by not purchasing any of the versions of the Avengers game and not playing it. But that's, I mean, historically speaking, that's not a thing that happens. Like,
yeah.
So,
I mean, this is something that I'm sure we could go back and forth on a little bit, because I know this is a complicated subject, and like, I understand some of the frustration where it's coming from, but for the most part, I'm kind of with you, where I'm just like, I will say that maybe it would have been nicer if they had actually done some character exclusive stuff for the other consoles, but
yeah.
That's not what we're doing. So
Yep. There was also like this very, very weird statement that came out from Scott Amos, the studio co-head of Crystal Dynamics, where he just basically talks about how like Spider-Man is good and PlayStation has a good relationship with them and they're gonna do it. I actually wonder whether the way that this got done was that Sony said, "Hey, we will pay for the development of this character if the character is exclusive to our console," so that so that it was a question of, well, there was going to be either Spider-Man content that was specific to the PlayStation 4 or no Spider-Man content at all in the game. Even so, it's weird because, I mean, obviously I understand what the people are saying. I understand why they don't like it. It's just, this is the way it's been for so long. Like, you have to stop, like, you have to, I don't know, like the video game industry has been taught that this is the way to do things, and to suddenly 360 and say, well, but now it's not okay. Like, now, the previous generation, it was fine. The generation before that, it was fine. Even now, it's fine. Like last week, Cuphead came out on the PS4. That was an Xbox exclusive. There's no reason Cuphead couldn't run on the PlayStation 4 or 3 or 2. I'm like, so I it's strange to me that it's just become this very big thing, that it's become this real sticking point for a lot of people.
It's just it's one of those flashpoint things.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. So we got that statement. We got some more PlayStation news here. I hope you guys aren't all PlayStation out, because apparently, in addition to the Spider-Man DLC, PlayStation Plus owners will also be getting like free loot, free microtransaction currency, and some time, like basically a jump on some of the content for the game before anybody else gets access to it. So apparently it just seems like if you're going to be playing this Avengers game, that the PlayStation's the place to do it, which is, not what people want to hear, but
Nope.
I don't really know what else to say about that. It's strange to me because I was talking with Michael yesterday about how, like, I don't really know that many people who are just super jazzed up for Avengers, and yet this happened and everyone was like, no, my favorite game of 2020 doesn't have my favorite character from Marvel Comics in it. And I was like, I don't know. I haven't seen that many people who have been so enamored with the Avengers.
You actually just reminded me of that, because I briefly forgot. Oh yeah, everyone was kind of whatever about this Avengers game. So yeah, why do you care now?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep. Let's see. In other PlayStation news, we are going to be getting apparently some more information about the PlayStation 5 this month, based on a Bloomberg report, which is usually pretty reliable. I think it's been a while since the PS5 one went out. We just got done with all of the announcements for the PS4. Matt, they have to announce when I can buy this motherfucker and what it's going to cost. We are not that far from Black Friday. Like, we are not that far. And if this thing is going to be $600, it's like, I need to buy it. I can't just sit around on $600 forever. Come on,
I
man.
haven't thought about the words Black Friday since last year, and now I'm just like, oh god, oh, it's gonna be real bad this year, isn't it? Oh no, especially with the new console.
Yeah, I have no idea. Well, the thing is that, I mean, Sony's been upping the production on the PS5 as much as as humanly possible, to the point where I started wondering, like, is the first run of the PS5 going to be like an Xbox 360 Red Ring of Death thing, where they're hurrying to get so many of them produced that there's like some problem that didn't get caught in the production, and then all of the first generation of PS5s are going to have some kind of horrible hardware malfunction that happens after you've used them for like 90 days or something like that. But I don't know. We're going to be finding out soon, and I hope that whatever we find out includes a time, a price, and a release date. Yeah, you said you're definitely not going to be doing. You're not going to be trying to grab a PS5 at launch. No.
Oh God, no! No, absolutely not. I got Godzilla toys to buy, man.
A man with priorities, ladies and gentlemen.
Hell yeah!
Let's see. Next up in the PlayStation 5 news, we also got a very strange report this week that apparently the DualShock 4 controllers will work with the PS5, but not on PS5 games. So, and I know that the next question, of course, is, well, then what the fuck are they going to work on? And the answer is PS4 backwards compatible games on the PS5, which seems like a really, I mean, kind of a weird thing. Like, but I don't know.
I don't know. One more thing to people to fucking complain about.
Matt, I feel like this news section has sapped your will to live.
Dude, the Tylenol is kicking back in. You know what that does to my head.
I don't. It's just supposed to kill pain. It's not like people crush up a bunch of Tylenol and snort it on Friday night. What?
Well, shit. I mean, there's an idea. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, it appears that there's also a question here about like what of the previous hardware, like joysticks, steering wheels, pedals, what of the actual peripherals, like fight sticks, are going to work with the PS5 from the PS4. And the latest thing is basically each individual hardware manufacturer is going to have to make that call on their own. So I don't know. We also found out apparently that it seems like there was this a very strange story where somebody basically said that all the PS4 games will. Okay, the PS4 backwards compatibility on the PS5 will not require whitelisting by Sony. So, like, the PS5 will not have a thing built into it that says, like, these games work and these games don't. It's basically going to be on the developer of the PS4 games to make sure that their games will function on the PS5. But if they will, then they will. There's no need for, like, a second step of contacting Sony or getting on some kind of whitelist or whatnot. Now, this was a leak that was then deleted by a popular Souls/Bloodborne streamer, but apparently it was pretty, I don't know, it was fairly well, it seems like legit, but we will not know for sure.
I guess we'll see.
Yes, indeed. Let's see. Speaking of PS4, PS5 compatibility, apparently Grand Theft Auto Online is going to be getting exclusive PS5, Xbox Series X, and PC content next year. This, I think, is really interesting because I feel like this is a case where they're just going to be... I mean, you know, we go back to the Spider-Man thing, right? Like, I get the feeling that if it'll run on the PC, it'll probably run on the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One in one format or another. And yet, it seems like there's going to be gating content to the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. I don't know. I don't really know anybody that plays Grand Theft Auto Online. Matt, are you secretly like a top tier ranked? Are you doing all the bank heists and all the DLC for Grand Theft Auto Online?
Little did you know, sir, that my entire career as an artist has been a ruse, and everything has actually been leading up to this reveal that Matt makes his money from streaming Grand Theft. I can't even finish that,
guys. It turns out that Matt is actually Dr. Disrespect. It's a mask. It's it's like a Mission Impossible. Tom Cruise pulls the one face off his other face mask.
Oh, I was gonna go with face off.
Oh,
and
whenever you stream, you have to have invasive face-off surgery to put a different face on.
Okay, I actually watched a little bit of that movie for the first time in my life, and I didn't realize they used a suction machine to just pop his face off.
Sure. Wait, you'd never seen Face Off before? The number of Face Off jokes that I've been making over the years to you, and you've never seen Face Off?
It's one of those movies I thought through cultural osmosis alone, Jeff, I would know the ins and outs of, but clearly I fucking need to sit down and watch Face Off.
Oh my God. I mean, if you started watching Face Off, that you already saw Nicolas Cage at one of his cagiest performances as fuck, what the hell is his name in that movie? Anyway, eating a peach for hours and setting off the bomb and grabbing the girl's ass in the choir and like that shot coming down. And then once they switch faces, then John Travolta gets to do his best crazy Nicolas Cage impression for like the rest of the movie.
Oh, it's so weird.
And then Nicolas Cage gets to do his best John Travolta impression for the rest of the movie. You got to watch Face Off, Pat.
I saw the Adam and Pals Your Movie Sucks compilation that they did, and I was like, I feel like I've seen the movie now, but
no, anyway. You got to watch Face Off. Everybody's got to watch Face Off. That's my Tyler Durden homework assignment for you.
Oh, really?
Project Mayhem is now just a movie club where we watch John Woo movies a lot.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah. Anyway, in other Take-Two news, so a few months back, we had this thing where NBA 2K21 was announced that it was going to be $70 on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 5 instead of $60. This kicked off a big round of speculation as to whether we were finally going to see the inevitable price hike for games. There was one from the PlayStation 2 era to the PlayStation 3 era where games went from 50 to 60, but all through that era and then through the PS4 era, we've been sitting at 60 up until now. Now Strauss Zelnick went online and basically said, God, I fucking hate Strauss Zelnick so much. The price, the raised price reflects the quality of the experience, which a lot of people who played NBA 2K20 are now going to be laughing because that game was a fucking slot machine that just happened to have basketballs in it. Like they literally had a trailer where they showed the game as a slot machine and like pulling a pachinko wheel to get the results out of your loot box. You can get the NBA players.
It's so inexcusable.
Yeah. So basically, he said that what he said was that they were not going to automatically increase the price for all of the games that they are putting out, the 2K is putting out to $70, but that games that were of a high enough quality might be priced higher than $60. And what does your brain think about paying $70 for a video game, Matt? What do you think about that?
Okay, if it's really gonna be a question of what is the game, because I feel like there's a lot of games out there that don't need to be 60, 70, or even 60 or even $50. I think what we're gonna be seeing, because the thing is it's not like wages have increased. It's not like people are making more money now. I think what we're gonna see is this price hike. They're probably gonna dip their toe in the water at first for certain games. And then once that kind of becomes a little more normalized, the only other option I would see is people, there's just going to be a whole lot of people sitting on a game purchase until there's a Sony summer sale or something and waiting for them to go down to 20 to 30 or whatever. And of course that's going to ultimately wind up hurting a lot of game companies because, they make all their money in the first couple weeks. They're not really making money off of the games after the few months pass and they're going up for sale on Steam or whatever. So, yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's where my head's at.
Okay. I've always said that the rationale for this has been like, well, gamers want more high quality games. Those cost more to make, so we have to charge more for games. And I say, okay, but if I ever smell a microtransaction, then you can fuck off because the microtransactions and the DLC and the season pass and the battle pass and the loot crates and all that shit was what was supposed to take the place of the fucking price increase. So if you raise the cost to cover the increased development cost, but then leave all that other shit in there, like, here's the thing, Matt. If there was a version, if they came out with like, I'll use NBA 2K just for thing, right? I don't play NBA 2K, but right. If NBA 2K21 had two versions, and there was a $60 version that was filled with microtransactions and bullshit gatekeeping, and there's a $70 version that was just a fucking regular video game, I would pay $70 for the one that I knew was a regular video game. I've actually said quite a few times that, like, if you believe that a game is a high enough quality that you think you could charge $80 because you've made the best game that I've ever played, then do that. And if it is, I might very well pay $80 for the best game that I've ever played in my entire life. The problem is that $60 is this like flat thing across the board. So, you know, Breath of the Wild is $60, and then crap like fucking, you know, Aliens Colonial Marines, when it comes out, is also $60 with a $20 season pass. So, like, if you want to make the quality thing, like, I pay more money for a steak than I do for a hamburger. The problem is that the game industry keeps being like, well, the cost of the hamburger now is equal to the steak, and then the steak costs like, you know, you got to just keep putting quarters in while you're eating the steak to keep eating it, or we're going to take it away from you. So, yeah.
I mean, basically what you're describing is the free-to-play model of like, well, there's the version of the game that costs this amount, or you can, you know, do the microtransactions, and oh God, saying that out loud makes my shoulders hunch. Like, I just, ugh. I'm gonna have to drink more of my, I think it's Chinese sarsaparilla. Anyway.
Okay.
66% of my daily sugar intake.
Didn't you just have your teeth worked on? Why are you drinking a sugary thing like hours after having your teeth worked on?
Jeff, I need this. Okay.
Okay.
Just one thing.
Okay. Fair enough.
Go.
Speaking of prices, this is not where I would have thought to get this, the opposite end of this, but apparently that new Star Wars Squadrons game that's coming out from EA is only going to be $40. And to date, EA generally tends to make things either like $60 or free to play. They don't tend to deal in the like mid-tier, you know, kind of value-based arena. But there was an interview where they were talking about how they feel like this game has a different scale. Like, it's mostly multiplayer. There's a short single-player campaign. It didn't take very long for them to make, and so they're going to price it lower to try to attract people into playing it. And it's like, oh shit, you mean like a regular consumer like sector? You're gonna try to, like, you know, you're not gonna make me pay $60 for like a half a game? Well, EA, I frankly, I'm surprised. I'm surprised at you, EA. I didn't expect this from you. So
I'm surprised and delighted. Well, there you go. It's yet another Star Wars game. Probably not going to play it. So, but good on them for, I guess, having some goddamn restraint.
I can't wait to play this game. I can't wait to play this game. It looks so good.
All right.
Let's see. Speaking of huge amounts of money, Nintendo was in the news this week as they put out some financials, and apparently their overall operating profit in the first quarter of this year has gone up 400%. Their profits.
It's almost like people are all stuck inside.
Yeah.
They have nothing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a friend who works for Retro, and yeah, he was like, "Oh, dude, like when the pandemic first hit, he said like, yeah, I lost like 30% of my retirement," and I was like, "Oh, damn, I'm sorry," and he's like, "We'll make it back. Give it a week." And and here we are.
Yeah, apparently between April and June of this year, their operating profits went up 427.7%. I mean, just given the fact that Switches are pretty much impossible to buy right now, that is one thing. And then also, I didn't realize, but apparently Animal Crossing has sold 22.4 million copies since its release earlier this year.
Oh my Christ.
Yeah. I can honestly say this is one of those humbling experiences where, I'm forced to look into the mirror of, I don't like Animal Crossing, but lots of fucking people like Animal. This is like when they put out a new Sims and it sells, it's just like a cash machine. You just ring the fucking cash machine bell and get cash out. Also, it's worth remembering that Nintendo also has, over the years, it's been kind of the worst kept secret that Nintendo has a huge war chest of funds that are just sitting there. So Nintendo can afford to take like a long time and a lot of chances because they tend to make their shit back in spades. And this is definitely an example of that. So, yeah. It's all right now it's all about home media. It's all about, that was what Morgan spent most of her days doing, was playing that Animal Crossing game. 22 million copies. Holy shit. That's staggering. At $60 a piece. And then they sold out every single Switch system so that people could play it. Right? Like you couldn't get I don't know how many stories I read over the last few months, Matt, of people who bought Switch parts off of eBay and then assembled a Switch of the various parts that they got off of eBay because you just couldn't buy one. And people on eBay were selling Switches for $600, just crazy markups.
Oh man, that's insane.
Yep.
Well,
not as insane as what people are doing with the fireworks in Animal Crossing.
Oh, really?
Apparently, now every Sunday in Animal Crossing, you get fireworks, and the fireworks are by default just a firework, but you can create little patterns that the fireworks will be in patterns of, and I'm sure you can guess what the first thing that people did is they made a bunch of dick fireworks that go up and they turn into dicks, and this is just lots and lots of dicks in Animal Crossing. There's a lot of just dicks everywhere in Animal Crossing. And I love it.
It's okay. There's some people are using their powers for good.
Yep. Yep. So that's
wow. Good for them, I guess.
I so wish I could be into Animal Crossing, Matt. I really do.
I know. I know you do.
And then in our last bit of Nintendo news, Smash Brothers got an update this week with a very, very small new stage, the small battlefield, which basically is like the standard Smash battlefield, but they took off the edges and the top platform to make this even smaller, which it was kind of a surprise because nobody actually knew this was coming. But I don't know.
I guess that's it's
good stuff.
It's just it's the little things. It's those little delightful Nintendo-y things.
Yes, indeed. Let's see from there. In other fighting game news, we got news last week of Street Fighter V getting some new DLC. We're getting Dan, Rose, and Oro. But the crazy thing is that they're also getting Akira Kazama from Rival Schools.
Oh.
So, this is the first time in a gajillion years that, Capcom has, even acknowledged the fact that Rival Schools is a fucking thing. And then one of the characters from Rival Schools is getting put into the next round of DLC for Street Fighter V. So, did you play Rival Schools, Matt?
That's one of those things that, again, I am vaguely familiar with. I've heard of it.
Yeah. Me too. It's one of those things where if I ever get my Dreamcast emulation set up, people talk about it all the goddamn time. So I'll have to go check it out. But I don't know. Apparently this was really, really exciting to fighting game fans. I am not a huge fighting game fan, but
I was going to say, it says a lot that I just Googled Akira Rival Schools. One of the first things that comes up is Akira Rival Schools age. And I'm like, don't. Just can we not, please?
Matt, I feel like you need to get off of the internet for a little while. Like the things this week the things that you're describing, the horrors that you were describing are so commonplace that I'm like, well, of course that's the first thing that came up. This is the internet. Like, this is not a wholesome place for wholesome people. This is a cesspool of horrible shit. And we all just roll around in the shit and then go, it smells terrible in here. And that's the internet. That's how the internet works.
You sure we can't backpedal to me describing going into a deep dive about Crash Bandicoot porn? Because I'll deep dive into that subject all day.
No. All right. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see Crash Bandicoot porn.
People are cowards. People are cowards. Anyway, go on.
Right. Well, next up, speaking of old video games, apparently a bunch of 360 games that were delisted from the Microsoft Store have suddenly reappeared as on the Xbox One store. This is games like Deadly Premonition 1, Dirt 3, Fuel Grid 2, Midnight Club LA, Overlord Pure, Silent Hill Downpour, and Tom Clancy's Hawks. There's a few more.
Hawks.
Yep. Apparently, if you buy them, though, it doesn't actually give you a license to play them on the 360. So, like, if you buy them on the Xbox One, you can play them on the Xbox One, but you can't play them on your Xbox 360. People are relatively certain that this is due to a title update that is preparing all of the back-end infrastructure of the Xbox Store for the Series X when it comes out later this year. But, if you were really into Tom Clancy's Hawks, do you ever remember that they made a Tom Clancy Air Combat game? They made a Tom Clancy's Ace Combat game, and it was called Hawks with an X, and it was all in capital letters, and it was about flying around. No?
Yeah, but was it about flying around and friendship?
No, it's just about flying around and killing stuff, and probably like
disappointing.
Ding Chavez guy from Rainbow Six was probably in it as your commander or whatever.
Ding Chavez.
That's his name.
All right. Okay. I'm not judging anybody. I'm just saying.
We also had some other Xbox news where apparently there was a question as to whether or not Xbox Gold was going to be going away. This was due to the fact that apparently on the Xbox Store you could buy a 1, 3, or 12-month subscription to Xbox Live, and the 12-month subscription went away last week, got delisted from the store. So there was only Xbox 1 month and then 3 month, and it led people to speculate that apparently they were wondering whether the Xbox Live was going to get basically rolled into Game Pass, and then Xbox was going to kind of go. They were going to let multiplayer and some of the online stuff that you have to have gold for be free. But apparently that is not the case. So,
yep. Win some, lose some, win some more. Yep. I don't play Xbox, so
yep. Speaking of winning some, we also got news that apparently next month the Xbox Game Pass, the xCloud, is going to be rolled into Game Pass starting towards the end of this month or early next month. I just closed the tab that had the news in it. And that is the ability to stream Xbox games on your phone and play them on your phone. We've been kind of prepping for this for a while, but if you have Xbox Game Pass, it's just going to be rolled into the Xbox Game Pass as of later this year. So everybody can take a chance and try that out.
Sure. Good for them. Good for Xbox owners.
Yep. Bad for everyone.
Oh, bad for everyone.
Konami.
So I feel like that doesn't even need to be established. I think it just at a certain point you're like, yeah.
So last week, apparently, Konami, on the Konami Twitter account, basically posted this thing, and it says, close your eyes, always scary, Silent Hill 2 siren. And it was just a video that has no video, and it's just the siren from Silent Hill 2 going off. And people, of course, were like, What does this mean? What does this
Nothing.
mean?
It doesn't mean anything. It's Konami. It doesn't mean anything.
Well, recently there have been a lot of rumors that Konami is rebooting Silent Hill for the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X generation. Apparently, though, this was not that. Konami then tweeted later on, "Easy there, Internet. We were watching streams of Dead by Daylight and thought we would share the noise and the feel of being hunted. We won't take the tweet down and quote-unquote backpedal. We just wanted you to enjoy it." And then later on they tweeted, "We're sorry we got people fired up. Anything official would come from at Silent Hill or an event or something, not from us. We were just being fans and enjoyed the noise/memories. Sorry, everyone. Did not mean to kill your Friday mood." Man, fuck you, Konami. Like, just tell us it's going to be a thing or not. And they keep saying, but you know what, Matt? I shouldn't even say that because Konami keeps saying, no, there's nothing Silent Hill in the works. But then there's all these like rumblings from some of the people that have done art and from certain studios that we don't know what they're working on. And it's like, we know they lie. We know that if Konami had a Silent Hill game in development and a reporter was to say, "Are you working on a new Silent Hill game?" they would say, "No, we are not working on a new Silent Hill game," because they know that if they said we aren't talking about that would be tacit endorsement. They would just straight up say no because they don't want people to know that they're working on a Silent Hill game. And Konami, if you're not going to make Silent Hill, just fucking sell the franchise to somebody else, please. Let somebody else make Silent Hill. Do it right, for fuck's sake.
But Jeff, they have to make slot machines. They have to make pachinko games. Jeff.
Yeah, actually, last week they announced they're making PCs. And they're ugly and overpriced as fuck. So,
oh, great. Okay. Well,
yeah. Let's see. Speaking of things that you won't get to play, Larian Studios announced that Baldur's Gate 3 won't be launching this month into early access as planned, but they will be giving out more information in the latest cast coming on August 18th. So if you're holding your breath, waiting to be able to get into early access for Baldur's Gate 3, you should probably exhale and then take another breath because, it's not going to happen this month. So,
well, yeah.
What will be happening pretty soon, though, is apparently Bethesda has announced that if you have Doom Eternal or Elder Scrolls Online, you're basically going to be able to get a free upgrade to Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. I think this is the third game I know that's doing this. So let's see. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is doing it. I believe Cyberpunk is doing it, and Avengers is doing it. So fourth one. I don't know who would be like, I'm going to buy the latest gen console to play my favorite game, the Elder Scrolls Online. But
well, I guess maybe some people could.
I mean, we already established that I don't know that there's a whole group of people playing the shit out of a game that I think is boring as fuck. So maybe Elder Scrolls Online is really fun, and I just don't know it. I'm just too much of an elitist to know.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Later this month, we are also going to be getting as I mentioned before, we're going to be getting a Night City Wire episode 2 next week. In fact, as of hearing this, it'll be happening on Monday. So it'll be happening tomorrow. This is the basically Cyberpunk 2077, and we're going to be hearing more about the different life paths in the game, different types of weapon, and then it just says, and discuss refused transformation into samurai. I don't know what that means. I'm super excited for all of it, though, Matt. I'm way excited.
I gotta say that Nightwire they did actually really did a lot to get me more interested in the game. So, bring it on.
I don't know. It's funny because I don't normally do this, but unless Cyberpunk 2077 is a steaming pile of garbage, I'm pretty sure it's going to be my game of the year for this year. Like, I just don't. I'm looking at the release schedule, and there's definitely good stuff coming out, but nothing on the terms, nothing at the same level. Like, it'd be funny if Hitman 3 came out this year instead of January of next year. who could say Demon Souls remake maybe, but like when I look at the stuff that's coming out in the back half of this year, I don't know. I guess we still don't have like a full on that the Spider-Man Miles Morales might be really good. I don't know. But I am looking forward to this. So August 10th, tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow, and you will see more of Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
Let's see. Speaking of stuff that you can watch but not play, Netflix has some game content that they're making. One thing, this headline just makes me weird, and I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
I just saw it, and I'm like, what?
I don't believe you, Netflix. Apparently, Netflix there's a Splinter Cell anime being written by the writer of John Wick that is coming to Netflix, and I have so many questions. One, why Splinter Cell? There's not a Splinter Cell game out. Why is Ubisoft determined to make everything except for an actual Splinter Cell game? Sam Fisher's in the mobile game. Sam Fisher's in Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Sam Fisher's going to be in a Netflix anime. Why is it an anime? Is question number two. And just... just come on, man. Just come on, Ubisoft. Come on. You giving all the other people everything they want. You can't just give old Jeff from Rage Select just a little Splinter Cell, even though I'm afraid that they will fuck it up. Also, what is this going to be? Is this going to be a retelling of the Splinter Cell franchise? The last time we saw Sam Fisher, they had rebooted it. Like first his daughter died, and then we went to Black Site. And that was weird. It wasn't Michael Ironside playing Sam Fisher.
That was fucking weird. Yeah.
Is Michael Ironside even going to be the voice of Sam Fisher, Matt? These are things I need to know, and I don't understand any of them.
I don't know. Given the way the animation industry has been going recently, I don't think Michael Ironside is going to be back, because for whatever reason, they can't just let characters be their voices and let the voice actors, because that happens all the time. Like they'll do a reboot or something, and not even necessarily a reboot. They'll just make more content, and the original voice actors will be like, I wasn't doing anything. Like I could have voiced that character. I voiced him for like 4.5 years. I'm around. Not that I mind, them trying something new, but,
Every Metal Gear fan knows the pain of switching out voice actors for some inexplicable goddamn reason. But this is not the only Netflix thing that is based on a video game, because apparently they're also making a Beyond Good and Evil movie from the guy that made Detective Pikachu. So, they had that. What was that joke? Was it on like Family Guy or something, where it was like the Netflix building and they just answered the phone? They were like, Netflix, yes, we'll make your whatever you want. Like I feel it was South Park. It was like, Netflix, you're approved. Oh, Netflix, you're approved. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what is this word soup? There's going to be a movie version of the original Beyond Good and Evil directed by the Detective Pikachu. What are you doing, Ubisoft? What the fuck is going on at your company? Like, I don't understand. I
don't know either. I started Beyond Good and Evil back when I downloaded it because it popped up on Steam, and I'm like, oh, I've heard a lot about this game. I started playing it, and I'm like, this is fine.
Yeah.
I don't really understand, but okay.
I've never been able to see what everybody else saw, but then I always get bored in the first 40 minutes of Beyond Good and Evil. So
right here.
All right. Let's see. Pikmin 3 was announced. Pikmin 3 Deluxe re-release on the Nintendo Switch was announced like suddenly this week. So Pikmin 3 is going to be coming out on the Switch.
Sure. Pikmin's cute.
Yeah, it was very strange to me because I have never been able to get into Pikmin. And then I feel like Nintendo had some kind of plan for this year, Matt, and that COVID has just like fucked them up so hard that they don't even know what to do anymore. Like what about a Nintendo Direct? We should have had a Nintendo Direct where the thing was a Pikmin Direct, or like this is like when they announced the Paper Mario and the Origami King, just like out of nowhere. It was just like 1 week there was a trailer with release date, just like boom, yep, that's going to be a thing now. And it was like, what? Where did this come from?
I don't know. All I know is that my favorite piece of Pikmin media is the animation parody of Attack on Pikmin. It's like Attack on Pikmin, and it's a little tiny Pikmin who another little Pikmin is screaming at him from in this little window. He's just like, red! And then the little Pikmin turns into one of those little mushroom frogs, except he's fighting the other mushroom frogs in order to seal off the wall around the Pikmin city.
Okay.
I'm not having a stroke. You're having a stroke.
It certainly sounds that way. Let's see. We got some other trailers from this week. We've got this is one that I did not expect. I didn't send Matt any of these trailers, but Call of Duty Modern Warfare Warzone is going into Season 5. There is a train now running around the Warzone map. There's some new areas for people to go to. And apparently, I don't really understand this, but at one point in this trailer, a guy kills another guy with a bird.
I just saw that, and I'm like,
and it seems like it's taken the place of like a melee attack, because it happens at like, I figured the whole reason you kill somebody with a bird would be to have some range on that bird. The bird could fly from like the other side of the map, but he just like walks up 2 feet behind a guy and then kills him with a bird. And I don't understand it. I don't understand why that is.
I don't understand Call of Duty anymore. So, I played the first Modern Warfare, really liked it. Haven't cared since. But I know people clearly like this shit, so I'm sure they'll have fun with it. Yep. Unless they complain about the fact that there's a woman in it.
I don't know that that's even a thing at this. Well, it's the internet, so of course it is. But yeah. Let's see. We also got a trailer for free DLC for Blasphemous called Stir of Dawn, which reminded me that I really need to go back and play Blasphemous, because I literally kickstarted it and then I never actually played it when it finally came out.
I know that feeling, man. I kickstarted Bloodstained, never played it, so
just play Bloodstained. Bloodstained's pretty rad.
I heard it's really good.
But all this looks like more Blasphemous, except at the very end when a Blasphemous guy pets a cat, or a dog. Pets a dog.
It's a dog.
And I don't know what that's all about.
They just gave you the option to pet dogs, I guess, because they couldn't have you be in total misery the entire game. So,
I suppose, if that's the rule. Speaking of total misery, we also got a trailer for Battletoads. I think this game looks like garbage, Matt. Like every part of this trailer makes me sad, and I think I don't think I've ever gotten over NES Battletoads. I don't think I've ever gotten over NES Battletoads, and like I don't know, just everything that I see in this looks very cheap. It seems like there's a lot of these like very strange, a lot of driving segments, which they're just like, oh, remember the driving segments? I'm like, yeah, the reason I stopped playing the game. They're like, yeah, they're back. I'm like, well, that's not what I want. I don't know. Like this just does not appeal to me in the slightest.
I mean, I feel like this could have been something really fun, like a Rayman Origins kind of setup, and it could have been really elaborate and very creative, but it just kind of looks like a mess. Like I can't super tell what's going on in most of it.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like it's got so many different types of gameplay that are going on, between like behind the back driving, side scrolling, like here's a shmup section, here's a beat 'em up section, here's like a rhythm game matching game section, and it's like, but to me, I don't know. It all just looks like each part of it looks like a cheap version of that style of game. Like the whole thing to me just seems very cheap. And especially because as a beat 'em up, which I guess is what I associate Battletoads with being, I can't help but compare this to Streets of Rage 4, that was just amazingly beautiful, very, very fun to play. And I don't know, this just looks like, you know what this kind of reminds me of is when they brought back Bubsy. And I was just like, ugh. Like,
must we?
I don't know.
Like, that really was the only reason that there's only the only reason anyone remembers Bubsy is because Bubsy sucked. The only reason anybody remembers Battletoads is because the game was really hard, and then there was a cartoon, and the cartoon sucked. So why?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I guess this is for. I mean, Matt, you and I have litigated over and over again the fact that I have no. I do not just have no, but I have active contempt for when the games and media try to play on my nostalgia. I am just like, fuck you. No, you make it look good now. Don't just be like, remember Battletoads? And I'm like, yes, I do. But yeah. And that's actually has a release date, so August 20th, and it's going to be on Game Pass. So if you got Game Pass, you can play it for free.
Yay!
Speaking of the Xbox, the Halo Master Chief Collection is going to be getting Xbox PC crossplay this year, which I think is super fascinating because, except for the fact that they're going to have input matching, which means if you've got a mouse and a keyboard, you can only play with other mouse and keyboard people, and if you've got a controller, you can only play with other controller people. Because I've always been interested in finally matching up mouse and keyboard versus, because I've always maintained that like there's no matter how good you are with a controller, mouse and keyboard is going to give you a higher amount of fidelity, and like hardcore Halo players are like, no, I beat somebody with a mouse and keyboard any day of the week. But as also part of this update, apparently you're going to be able to hook a mouse and a keyboard up to your Xbox if you want to play Halo with a mouse and a keyboard on your TV, which I guess is a thing.
Okay. I don't know. It feels like people who are hardcore PC gamers probably already can hook up their PC to their TV, but I mean, whatever. I guess that's and more options is always better. So yeah.
Let's see. We also got a very strange thing this week where on the Epic Games Store, there is a game called 3 out of 10 that is an adventure game set in a game studio that's making mediocre games. And it's supposed to be basically a sitcom where every Thursday they're going to release another 30-minute episode of this game that you can play in 30-minute increments as if it was like watching an episode of a TV show, which I find to be very strange. I haven't played it yet, but it's got a very interesting art style, and it's also interesting that this is coming from a company that made Tower of Guns and Mother Gunship, which were both like hardcore first-person shooters that came out a few years back.
Tower of Guns. I again, that's a creative concept. It could work. So
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I gotta play it. I gotta play it at some point because
I know
it's free and it's 30 minutes long, and it's like, oh, ow, my arm! Quit twisting it. Next up, I've got a weird spoiler for anybody that's interested in Frog Fractions. So if you're interested in Frog Fractions, you maybe need to jump forward 3 or 4 minutes. But
I haven't thought about Frog Fractions since Frog Fractions.
Didn't you and I play Glittermitten Grove?
Yes, we did.
That was technically Frog Fractions 2?
Yes, we did.
And then there was an ARG connected to the Kickstarter for the next Frog Fractions game that was technically Frog Fractions 3. Well,
yes.
Let me tell you a story, Matt. Last week, Frog Fractions HD, or like Frog Fractions Remastered, came out on Steam. It was free to play. You could download it, and you could totally play Frog Fractions. There was also some DLC that was an $8 hat that you could buy for the frog in Frog Fractions. If you bought that $8 hat, Frog Fractions Remastered is actually Frog Fractions 4.
I don't know if I should be mad or not.
I'm not mad. I'm just impressed.
I mean, I would think that at this point, if you know what Frog Fractions is, and you see a sale for an $8 hat, you've got to know there's something's up. That there's this. We need to explore this.
What's funny is that I actually looked at it, and I didn't understand that. I didn't look into it because this week when I was looking at all the games that were coming out, I was like, oh, hey, they put out Frog Fractions. And then I just didn't look at it. Apparently, like if you just look at it, it just looks like frog fractions. And then apparently it's got this $8 frog fractions Hops iconic cap. And then if you do that, that unlocks Frog Fractions 4 inside of the remaster of the original Frog Fractions. That's fucking great. That is goddamn amazing, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I love it.
Okay. Whatever he says angrily under his breath. It's just, what a weird franchise. It's one of those things that you think about and you're like, oh yeah, there really is like creativity and people who just put stuff out because they're kind of having fun and they're having fun with it, and I don't know.
Yep. And last but not least, we also had this amazing video by this YouTuber Komazawa Isolation, who basically went out into the empty Shibuya streets and like, I don't know, it was like maybe a drone or something. Like he's walking around and basically walking like a character from like a Yakuza game, and then like even the way that he'll like walk up like to a thing and then do the collision with it where he briefly like hangs on the edge of an object, and then he's got this, it's got to be a drone that is following him that like is mimicking what the camera from like a third person video game would look like. And it's fucking incredible.
They really did a good job. Like I really do. I keep like my eyes keep. It's also that they did something with the camera, something with the resolution, where you really do feel like you keep forgetting that you're not watching a game. Like his movements are on point. The overlays are on point. It's really impressive.
It really, really is. I highly recommend that everybody go take a look at it because it's freaking great. And I mean, the only thing I can think of is that this is a drone, because otherwise there's no way they could have got like the shot that we just saw where it, there's no way a person could have gotten that close. But even so, the amount of staging that this would take to simulate what a free moving right stick camera would be is absolutely phenomenal. So everybody should go check it out. That is Komazawa Isolation, and yeah, I'm sure you can find it. I found it on Kotaku. It's on there too, but it is absolutely incredible. And with that, we're done. That's it. That's a podcast. MailRageSlate.com is the email address to write into if you have questions. I know that we don't always get to questions, and next week we may or may not. I don't know. It depends on how big that night city dive thing is. But you can send in questions. And Matt, where can people find you on the internet?
You guys can find me over at mattfrankart.net. That's my main hub. I'm also on the Giganticast over on oneofus.net. My Patreon is patreon.com/mattfrankart. I've got a YouTube. I've got the Twitters. I've got the Flabbity Flu. The Gamera box set that I worked on is apparently finally hitting... Well, it's actually hitting streets almost a month early.
Oh wow!
People are already getting theirs in, which is well, that's great. I mean, if it's done, it's done. I just but I think a lot of people who are looking to review it aren't getting it when they should have been getting it. But whatever. I mean, it's fine. One of these days, I'm gonna have to hijack the podcast so I can talk about Dawn of the Monsters, which is the upcoming kaiju side-scrolling beat 'em up that I may or may not be working on. So yeah.
Ooh, okay, we'll look forward to that. But that's for another time. Thanks everybody for listening. I really need to come up with a sign off.